Hi, everybody. Welcome again to the show. I want to start off by giving a shout out to all of the listeners out there, everyone in the U.S., everyone in Central America, Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Costa Rica. We have listeners in Canada, in the UK, and just recently we have accumulated quite a following in Jamaica. So, hey, Jamaica, welcome to the club. Welcome to the gang. We look forward to seeing more and more of all of you. This is Arzu Mountain Spirit, and you are listening to Mountain Spirit Speaks. You have the right to know everything that's going on and what is available to you from Mother Nature and from Mother Earth, from the ancestors, and from all of the benefits that you're entitled to as a spiritual being having a human experience. So that's why I'm here. And if you remember the last time we spoke, we were discussing the Clair abilities. Everyone is psychic. Every single human being, including you, no exceptions, is born with psychic abilities. Because your psychic abilities, also known as Clair abilities, are merely an extension of your physical senses. The first sense we're going to talk about today, it was hard deciding which one I want to start with, but I thought let's climb up Jacob's ladder and start from the primal sense of smell. That's something we can all relate to. There are plenty of people with highly developed psychic senses who are, at this moment, in mental institutions or heavily medicated somewhere or wandering the streets talking to themselves because there was no guardian at the door. Now, you may ask, why talk about the sense of smell? That shouldn't even really be a psychic sense. And to tell you the truth, a lot of people who consider themselves, I guess, authority in teaching about the psychic senses, they won't touch the sense of smell. They won't talk about the sense of smell, mostly because the teachings about the sense of smell are esoteric and a little bit controversial. And you'll understand that as we go on. It makes no sense, no pun intended, to develop the other senses without developing the sense of smell. That sense must be cleared, it must be balanced, and it must be fed. In our culture, the sense of smell is who we call the guardian at the door. That's the sense that lets you know that what you are sensing is truly coming from spirit or is truly coming from somewhere else. The understanding is that we originated from the earth. We are people of the earth. Indigenous means people of the earth. So that's the assumption from which I am coming with this perspective. We entered the earth with our nose to the ground. That was our first guide. And likewise, it is our first guide in entering the realm, the metaphysical realm, the realm of the ancestors and the esoteric teachings. That's how we are guided in this incarnation as spiritual beings having this human experience. The metaphysical sense of smell is known as clairalliance or Clairaroma. You can use whichever one is easier for you to remember, and I will use them interchangeably. Why is this sense important? Well, because it functions as a doorway to your inner senses. It's more like a doorbell. It's like when the doorbell rings, you know that there's someone at the door. When this sense is activated and functioning properly, you can trust the incoming data. And you can know beyond the shadow of a doubt that this information is coming from a higher place, that is coming from the ancestral realm. And it's not just coming from your head. That's why this sense is important. The conscious and unconscious perception of smell takes place in different areas of your brain. Conscious perception of smell takes place in the orbital frontal cortex. The unconscious perception of smell takes place in the amygdala, which acts like a hub in your limbic system. Your olfactory system, which is the system that governs all of the organs that participate in the physical sense of smell. This olfactory system is the only system with a direct connection to your limbic system. And your limbic system is associated with sexual arousal. So yes, there is a direct relationship between your libido and your sense of Clairaroma. Are you ready? So just so that you don't think I'm totally out the box, there are studies in psychology that have concluded that there is indeed a strong connection between olfaction, your sense of smell, and sexual behavior. Now listen very carefully. Your sexual spiritual center happens to be your second chakra. The sacral center on your physical being that governs creativity and procreation. And it resonates to the color orange. Imbalances and diseases of your sacral spiritual center are obstructions to your psychic sense of smell. And they will not appear anywhere near your nose. They will appear in your sacral center. On a physical level, they will appear in imbalances that include high and low libido, impotence, sex addiction, frigidity, promiscuity, erectile dysfunction, STD, a tendency to STDs, blocked creativity, infertility, sexual or creative obsessions, fetishes. Fetishes are all connected to smell, your creative blocks, and sexual repression. Yeah, all of these are indicators that there is a block or an imbalance. Unlocking your inner sense of smell means clearing and balancing your sacral spiritual center, which is where this metaphysical ability is stored. So the goal becomes to be sexually well-adjusted, to have a healthy libido, to know how to set healthy boundaries in relationships, whether they're intimate relationships or casual relationships, to be able to use creativity constructively. And this is where the plants come in. I had to tell you all of that so that you can understand why we use these particular plants. Otherwise, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. So your healing plants for developing your Clairaroma, your Clairalliance, your metaphysical psychic sense of smell are the saw palmetto for men, the wild yam for women, the chasteberry for either, the cacao fruit and the cacao flower essence for either. Those are your plants, the healing plants that address the physical aspects, the physical manifestations of the imbalances. Now, there's another level. There are the spices, which are elements that are pretty strong, and you would consume them in small portions. So your spices are nutmeg, vanilla, and chocolate. And chocolate, this is the chocolate, which is the powdered insides of the seeds from the cacao fruit. Your foods, of course, would include all of the orange foods. Apricots, oranges, mangoes, papayas, any of the foods and fruits that have the color orange in them. This is the plant having consumed sunlight and pre-digested it and produced this fruit carrying this color frequency that will feed this particular psychic sense. Are you with me? So now it brings us to the metaphysical plant, which is the plant that does the healing on the inside. the one that accesses the realm of the ancestors and develops your ability to communicate with spirit with that sense. So when spirit is trying to get a hold of you, your sense of smell will be so acute that spirit will be able to communicate that. Like a doorbell. Say, okay, I'm coming in. And that is the Katwaba. The Katwaba works through your nervous system to direct energy to your reproductive organs. That's what it does on a physical level. But on a metaphysical level, it balances the energy around your amygdala. Your other plant, yes, you have two. You could have several, but I'm only going to talk about two here. And whatever other plants work in that same way. Now, I want to be very strict about this next one because it could easily be confused. Your other plant, which is probably the most accessible one, is the cannabis, but sativa. Sativa only, right? The cannabis comes in two varieties or directions energetically. There's the indica and there's the sativa. For the purposes of developing the sense, it is the sativa that will be your metaphysical plant. Why? Because the sativa is energizing. It stimulates creativity. And it enables you to be more physically active. And it is scientifically proven to have stimulating cerebral effects. So your two metaphysical plants are the Katwaba, which I will encourage you to research on your own. I cannot go into detail right here about it. I will put a link in the comment section so that you can go there and get the information yourself, right? So I'll pre-digest the information for you so you can access it. But I wanted to clear up the cannabis as your metaphysical plant, but it is the cannabis sativa. Your sense of smell plays a really important role in the formation of memory and emotions. It's an extremely important sense. It's here to guide you through this life. The Shining. Now, in the movie, I don't remember the character's name, but it was Scatman Carruthers who played the role. And he would get psychic visions. And right before he would get a vision, he would smell oranges. And that is the perfect example of the sense of smell working as a metaphysical gift. So the sense of smell in his psychic work was the doorbell. It was a doorbell that would ring for him. He would smell oranges and he knew that right there was a download coming from spirit. There was information coming from the ancestral realm. And sometimes they were warnings. Other times it was just stuff that let him know what would happen next. So this is one way that our sense of smell can work in alignment with our psychic abilities. But that sense has to be balanced. You have to be able to trust it. And it has to work properly. So I hope you've enjoyed this tidbit on Clairaroma, Clairaroma, the metaphysical psychic sense of smell. And I hope that there's a better understanding on how you can work with these plants and the foods and the colors to bring your sense of smell into a higher space where it can serve you well. You've been listening to Mountain Spirit Speaks, and yes, I care very much about your health. And I want to share with you all the healing powers inherent in nature that were taught to me. The next video will be on the metaphysical sense of taste. So until such time, I'll see you around.